Hi, I am Steve Trapero, one of the owners and partners of Pinnacle Design Center, and we're here today to talk about packaging. And we're here today to specifically talk about a very iconic soft drink that's been around for a long time. Years ago, I got a series of brochures from a paper company, and in one of the particular issues, they talked about icons and what were things that were recognizable very easily. And one of the samples was that of a bottle, and immediately you saw it and you knew that it was the classic Coca-Cola bottle. And we're going to be talking about Coca-Cola today because one of our design interns, Myra, was recently talking to me about this. Actually, yesterday, we were talking about how Coca-Cola will often do like holiday packaging. It's very interesting. Well, it goes beyond that. And I've been, at Pinnacle, we do all kinds of design work, including packaging design. And for years, I've been collecting samples of packaging, as well as a lot of other things. I have a tendency to collect and be kind of a bit of a pack rat. But I have a bunch of samples of packaging that I've been collecting over the years. And I know that Coca-Cola is something that the brand itself is quite popular. I myself used to say that I only really liked the taste of it in two kind of sources. One is as a Coca-Cola Slurpee, and this is not a plug for 7-Eleven or Coca-Cola. And then the other was in rum and cokes, and I actually discovered about a year ago that Dr. Pepper and rum make a much better mixture of soda and rum than rum and cokes. So I only really drink Coca-Cola in the form of Slurpees these days. But still, you have to admire their packaging and the strength of the brand globally, not just in the United States. It's one of the it's the #1 most popular drink throughout the world. And so whether you like it, love it, or indifferent about it, you have to agree that Coca-Cola is a substantial brand, been around for a long time. It's not going to go away anytime soon. So one of the things that we want to talk about is the classic bottle. And this is a little mini bottle. What size is this? This is 8 ounces. And this is pretty new, pretty recent, but it's very much along the lines of the classic bottle design. We also have this fine example, which is a 1 liter, a medio litro, so half a meter actually. And this is made in Mexico, and it's considerably bigger, but it's quite popular these days because a lot of people here in the U.S. especially, and other places too, but are concerned about high fructose corn syrup and its effect long terms on the human body. And so this version or variation of Coca-Cola is actually made in Mexico and made with real sugar, and it's sought after, and you actually can see it around supermarkets these days and whatnot. So those are two kind of designs based off the classic bottle. This is a particular one that it was for the holidays in 2004, and has a nice picture of Santa, and they've always done Santa as a very traditional rosy-cheeked, big, fat, white-bearded guy. And this is a fun kind of variation off of this. And it is done very much with the classic bottle, but then, with the holiday theme. What's interesting, too, is if you look really close, this graphic on the bottle is actually a Christmas ornament. So even though it starts off as a Christmas ornament, it kind of melds into the rest of the bottle. But that's kind of what it's about and what it's doing. Another variation on the holiday theme are these, and I love these. Actually, the only place I saw these during the 2009 holiday was in Walmart. And this is the one side, and then you turn and you get the polar bears, which is still being used quite a bit by Coca-Cola in regards to their packaging. Another version of this, also in the red, is Santa. And excuse that his face is all warped. It got, when I was packaging the stuff away, or packing it away, it got kind of bent, and I've never been able to find any kind of instrument to go inside and kind of punch it out. But anyways, you get the idea of this. Diet Coke. And again, if you spin this on the back, it has snowflakes, and it's kind of a silvery and white feel, which goes along with Diet Coke, of course. And then they also did Sprite, and this is the front. And then the back is kind of like a snow globe and a Christmas setting, quite cute. But when I saw these, I just thought this was genius because it really is in the shape of a Christmas ornament, but it's had a soda inside. Again, one of the things that I like about Coca-Cola is their playfulness and how they will do variations on things. And so this is just a traditional Coke can, but then what they've got on the side with the stroke and the stripe is a snowboarder. And this was around the Winter Olympics. I forgot what year or where the actual Olympics were being done. But if you look at it, it's a snowboarder. And whether you look at it this way or he's on a wall going this way, it works, and it's quite a bit of fun. Just a simple little thing, but it shows Coke's playfulness and their willingness to mess around with their brand. This is a really interesting little version of the Coca-Cola can. It's considerably smaller. This is a 7.5 fluid ounce bottle, or can rather, not bottle. And they simply use the Coca-Cola can and the graphic. And how this was sold is actually in an 8-pack. So not a 6-pack, but an 8-pack. So I think you probably get about the same amount of beverage that's in a 6-pack, but a little smaller, and specifically for people that don't like a big serving of whatever they're drinking. But quite cute and fun. Another version of the can, which is like half of the regular can, and cute and fun. This was something that I picked up when we went to China, and I know that they have Coke in really every language in every country around the world. And this was, of course, in China, and then at the same time they were plugging World of Warcraft. Any of you ever played that game? I actually haven't. I watched a good friend of mine play it. I was more into StarCraft when it was in its heyday. Put this over here. So, there was a time that my wife Yvonne and I went down to Santa Monica 3rd Street Promenade, and they were opening the new mall there. I think it's called Santa Monica Place, and it was the day of the opening. It was really crowded, and I saw a bunch of people walking around with this Coke bottle-shaped can, and it's an aluminum can, and it's got the logo, and it looks very much like the bottle shape, but it's a can. And I saw this around, and I was like, I want one. Where can I get it? And the booth that had been promoting it and giving away free samples in this new package were gone, and wrapped it up for the day. And I was like, oh damn, now what? And I literally went from trash can to trash can, opening up the top or looking into it to see if I could find a can of this. I finally found one that was in the bottom of basically an empty trash can. And I had to look really ridiculous because I had my arm up to here, reaching down to the bottom of this thing, trying to get it, and finally got it and brought it out. And there was no other trash, so it was virtually clean. But somebody had drank it, but I got my sample anyways. But I think this is a lot of fun, and actually have seen these recently being sold in retail stores. I think the only place I saw it is in Fry's Electronics. But anyways, there's that. One of my favorite examples of Coke kind of playing a variation on their packaging is this. And I only saw this at a Fry's Electronic years ago. And what was really interesting is if you look really carefully, you can kind of see a very subtle representation of the logo there. But then on this side, which is the front, they've just got a graphic portrayal of the bottle with no type, no swash, nothing, and just this. And again, this was on the market for a short time. I never saw in person, but I know that at the same time they were playing around with just having the white swash on the one side and then the Coke logo being really subtle. But I never physically saw it. I saw it online at the time. But this is a favorite of mine. I think it's a lot of fun and it's interesting. Now, for the most part, Coke has been very successful with what they've done and what they've produced. But sometimes they've created stinkers. And I think this is a great example of a Coke idea gone wrong. It's called CocaCola Black. Some of you may or may not have remembered it. It's taking the shape of the classic Coke bottle. But what this is a fusion of coffee and Coca-Cola. Horrible. When I first saw it on the market, I just thought to myself, that can't be good. Then at a 7-Eleven, they had a little coupon next to it that was half price off the thing. And I'm like, okay, for just the packaging sample, I'll try it at half off. I tried it, I took a few sips, I threw the contents away immediately. It was horrible. Don't know who in the world got this idea, passed and produced, but it was horrible tasting. And obviously no longer on the market because you probably have not seen or heard of it ever since. A few other things. I didn't want to leave on a negative note. So we actually have this, which is the Diet Coke Plus. And what was very interesting is that at the time that this was produced, I saw billboards all over the place. But the billboards and the packaging used in the billboard was really the classic Coca-Cola size. What I only saw one time on the shelf when I bought this sample was this one, which is tall and skinny. And I actually liked this version of it quite a bit better. So I don't know what happened internally with their marketing or packaging or design department. Maybe at some point they decided the normal can was too regular for it. And I think this is actually really fun because it's Diet Coke, and then it's got the nice color variations and the swashes in blue and everything. I think this is interesting, fun. It actually tasted pretty good too. And then the last thing I want to show you is really Coca-Cola coming back to where it started. And this was produced in 2007, and it's actually, the packaging itself is meant to look very retro and aged, but this was produced in 2007, and it was a replica basically of the bottles that Coca-Cola used in 1899. And this is what it looked like, and it's kind of hard to see because it's just the glass and the form, the logo and all the information like embossed in the glass. No stickers, no labels or anything. And of course they had the classic, bottle cap. But this is what it looked like in 1899, more than 100 years ago. So that's kind of wrapping up very quickly, my take on the few samples of Coca-Cola that I have. Tune in next time. We'll talk about other interesting and dynamic packaging. Back to you, Yvonne.
Thanks.